Hello and welcome to the Second Tier Podcast. I'm Ryan Dilks and I'm joined by the Haji Right to my Victor Yokerez. It's Justin Peach.
Good day to you, Ryan.
Justin, how the devil are we?
I'm very good. I'm suffering a little bit with a cold. It's a post-holiday illness, I think, but you know me, I'm ill 90% of the year. But other than that, I'm great. How are you, Ryan? I never ask you. How are your teeth? Are they getting on fine?
How are my teeth? My teeth are absolutely fine. You'll be glad to know that in the following days from Teethgate, we had a bit of correspondence from our listeners, many of whom told me, please go to a dentist. But I've not had any problems at all. And people have said, look, I didn't have any problems, and then they just cropped up later in life, but I'm not that worried about it at all. Plus, I hated going to the dentist because I kept going and it would cost quite a lot of money for them just to say your teeth are absolutely fine.
That is true. It seems a bit of a gimmick, but at the same time, you shouldn't leave stuff until there's a problem. Like you get your car serviced every year,
That's
so you get
exactly
your teeth
what I
serviced
do.
every year. Go and get your teeth serviced, Ryan. It's a good thing.
You said a thing about your car. I would not get my car serviced.
Oh my god!
Until it was a problem. If I could.
You're a 16-year-old man still. 16-year-old man, 16-year-old boy. Incredible.
16-year-old man. It's just the way I've lived my life, you know. Devil may care attitude, and that's how I will continue to live it, Justin.
It's reckless. I mean, you didn't go for a haircut for a while, so it's a clear strategy that you're living by. I should have picked up on this sooner.
I was just trying something out, you know. You've had the same haircut since you were 5 years old, so I thought, you know, I'd go for something a bit different. Admittedly, in hindsight, didn't look great, but you know, you got to try these things, Justin.
You have. At least I'm going to keep my teeth for the rest of my life. You're going to have dentures by the time you're 33.
Well, if that is the case, then so be it. I think my teeth will look pretty good if I have dentures. Welcome to the number one championship podcast, the Second Tier. Thank you for joining us wherever you are. Yes, this is a preview episode of the games coming up in the championship this weekend. So Justin and I will each make our predictions for the weekend's games. But we've also got a game of football for us to talk about because there was the clash on Monday night of Coventry v Huddersfield. So we'll have a quick chat about that. Also talk about some of the news from the past few days, and then we'll finish off with Scott High or Ryan Lowe right at the end of the show. So Coventry v Huddersfield, a 94th minute equaliser, saw Huddersfield draw 1-1 away at Coventry in Darren Moore's first game in charge. Coventry dominated the first half, got a bit lucky with their goal. Ellis Sims smashed it against the bar and it basically hit Yasin Ayari. A strong shout for handball in there too when you see one of the replays, but nonetheless Huddersfield battled and kept going right until the end, and that's exactly what Darren Moore will want his side to do if they're going to have any chance of staying up this season.
Yeah, it'll be exactly what he wanted from his first game, possibly not what preceded the character to get back into it, but the desire to stay in the game and ensure that they are within a whisker, I guess, of equalising. It's exactly what Darren Moore would have wanted. I think their best chances throughout the game came from tight shooting positions or from distance, and it was a bit like a Neil Warnock side. And I think those strong foundations laid by the legend himself will give Darren Moore a really good platform to build on. But as I say, they stayed in the game, and that's all you can ask for, especially away from home. Sure, you're coming up against a team that are perhaps more clinical. They perhaps would have been punished. So there are obvious areas to improve on, but the character was there, and exactly as I've said, Darren Moore's going to want to thrive on that, want to use that, and he's going to want to take that into the next few weeks of his tenure. Yeah,
funny isn't it how Darren Moore's last 3 games as a manager have ended quite dramatically now, haven't they? It's a big job on his hands for Mr. Moore, especially following someone like Neil Warnock. The players were reportedly in tears as Warnock gave his final speech to them. That's how close he was to the players. But Darren Moore can definitely continue that. We saw that at Sheffield Wednesday last season. It wasn't just the fans, it was also the players, it was also the fans that he was bringing together into this one unit. And as I'll keep bleating, this Huddersfield squad isn't very strong. So they need to make up for that by working harder than their opponents and battling for each point. Interesting that they went with a back 3. Warnock has mainly played with a back 4 this season, despite most of their good form under Warnock last season coming with a back three, if my memory serves me correctly. Jack Radoni was playing further forward as well. I think he's going to be really important for them. I think it was an encouraging first game for Huddersfield fans under Darren Moore. Would you agree with that, Justin?
Yeah, I do. Obviously, they weren't at their best, and we've seen them play better. But as I say, you're coming up against a Coventry side who have got a wealth of talent and have recruited extensively and expensively over the summer, and Huddersfield haven't, let's be honest. So whilst they weren't incredible and they're not playing their opposition off the park in this game, they showed the strong foundations they need to kick on and develop some good form. It's a theme of Huddersfield that they've been in games throughout the season, just haven't had that bit of edge that they've needed. They showed it to some extent here. And as I say, character gets you a long way in the Championship, and as long as they keep showing it, as long as they develop it and use that as a launching pad for themselves, then they possibly might do better than many may expect for the rest of the season.
A very slow start for Coventry. Only 2 teams in Championship history have drawn more in their first 8 games than Coventry's 5 this season. It's not the start I expected at all from them, Justin.
No, it's disappointing, isn't it? I think when you look at their transfers over the summer, naturally your expectations they increase massively, but there have been elements of sloppiness. There have been elements of failure to control situations and lacking maybe a calmness, something they had in abundance last season. I thought you go back to the playoff games last season, they look comfortable being uncomfortable, if that makes sense. They're happy to have their backs to the wall. Don't really see that yet with this team, which I think is normal. They've had a high turnover of players, and quite a lot of the new ones that have come in are quite young. So mistakes are getting punished. I think Cov are just going through the motions, but form, as we know, it has to improve. I've seen a couple of, not people wanting Mark Robbins out, obviously not, but there's been a lot of questions asked of him, and I think that's fair because the form has been poor.
Yeah, I was expecting Coventry to be a playoff side this season, perhaps even challenge for the top 2. I definitely thought they had a chance of finishing in the automatics after their summer transfer business. I would still back them to finish in the top 6 now, but they've got to do a lot better. Killing off games would be a great start. They've now dropped 9 points from winning positions, which is the most in the division. If the strikers were firing, that would definitely help with that, and just in general, Hadji Wright and Ellis Sims cost a combined 14 million and have 1 goal between them so far. Sims has been getting better, but Wright has been getting a lot of stick for his recent performances, particularly the miss in the game against Huddersfield. Injuries haven't helped, particularly Ben Sheaf in midfield. I think he's their most important player, and there's a big miss when he's not there, but then there's also the likes of Casey Palmer, amongst others, who have been missing recently. So it's not been a great start. I continue to think they will be fine, and I would still back them to finish in the top 6, as I say, but things have got to be a lot better from a Coventry City perspective. Let's have a look ahead to the weekend. So in each preview episode of the second tier, Justin and I will each pick a banker, a team we think is guaranteed to win this coming weekend, as well as an outsider, so someone we think is going to win, but is bigger odds with the bookies than their opponents. We're tracking how we do as the season goes on. 1 point for a correct banker, 2 points for an outsider. Whoever loses has to do a forfeit. Justin will be going on a coach trip from Sunderland to Plymouth and back if he loses, while I'll be doing a vomit-inducing CrossFit workout, according to Justin. The current scores are 10-5 to myself. Mind the gap, Justin.
It's mind the gap, absolutely. I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to get into crosswords and Sudoku in preparation for my my potential long journey. I've been let down recently as well by some late goals, but yeah, I'm not. I'm sitting here nervously. I'm uncomfortable in my seat.
Yeah, I did question at the start of the season why you wanted to do a forfeit. It was completely your idea, and it may be coming back to bite you. Let's hear your banker then, Justin. What are you going for?
I'm going with Cardiff to beat Rotherham. I find Cardiff so intriguing for a number of reasons. They're not doing anything spectacular in games, but they've generated a consistency and confidence that is pulling them through their fixtures at the moment. As I say, there are obvious signs of improvement, but you can't mistake their form of late. They've also won their last 3 home games going into this game, and are actually one of the tightest teams in the division when it comes to not allowing opposition a high volume of chances at the Cardiff City Stadium. So that's going to work in their favour against a side who have a really quite dreadful away record. Rotherham have conceded 11 on the road, scored just 2 in that time, and all the while not winning away from home since the 8th of November last season when they beat Sheffield United. So with that, you'd expect the Bluebirds to continue singing. Obviously, things aren't that cut and dry in the Championship, but if you're looking at the form table and the number of chances Cardiff are starting to create, and rather than being hopeless from home, away from home, you'd expect a Cardiff win here.
Yeah, Rotherham have been absolutely awful so far, particularly away from home. In my view, they're lucky to be on 5 points. Ultimately, if Cardiff can defend crosses, then it's unlikely that they'll concede, because that's all Rotherham seem to have. And I will give credit to Cardiff. We both have strong doubts about them staying anywhere near the top half, but they've been in great form since the international break. 3 wins on the trot, and they've done it without Aaron Ramsey in the last 2 as well. Yeah. They are proving to be resolute, and Errol Bullitt has got a good feel factor at Cardiff for the first time in a long time, and that's a very good start. As I say, I don't think it will last, but I'll be surprised if they don't make it 4 wins in a row this weekend, because I'm not sure Rotherham at home is. I'm not sure there's going to be a less difficult game for teams this season.
But what a way to ruin your recent form by losing to probably one of the worst teams in the form table. It is just typical Championship for that to happen, isn't it?
It'd be very Championship.
Yeah.
Let's go to my banker then, which is Leeds to win away at Southampton. Don't think this one needs explaining too much to regular listeners of the podcast. Southampton have been playing very poorly, while Leeds look rejuvenated. Southampton just cannot defend for their lives. The most goals conceded in the division, including 12 in their last 4 games. The goals have dried up at the other end as well. They scored 10 in their first 4 games, but have only found the net twice in their last 4. The confidence seemingly drained out of the Southampton players, and the confidence is quickly being drained out of the Southampton fans in the manager. Won't take much for the atmosphere to turn toxic at St Mary's in this one, and 5 straight losses will leave Russell Martin's future very much up in the air. And Leeds are probably the last team I'd want to be facing right now. Since the international break, they've battered Millwall and Watford while drawing with Hull, but they were down to 10 men for a third of that game. The pairing of Jorginho Ruta and Joel Pirro have been unplayable, and will be salivating at the thought of coming up against that Southampton defence. Leeds have also really tightened up at the back, not conceding in the last 4. I can't see anything other than a Leeds win here, Justin.
Their home form is a bit shaky though. They had won 1 in 9 up until their game against Watford at the weekend. Sorry, the game against Watford was the 1 in 9 wins.
But Leeds are away
going
here.
Into last season. Sorry,
Leeds are away here.
They are away, so it means absolutely nothing to this fixture. So yeah, absolutely, Leeds win, definitely. I completely read our notes wrong. Incredible. So yeah, I vehemently agree with you, Ryan. I got nothing to throw your way.
Brilliant. It is worth pointing out Leeds have only won 3 so far, but 2 of them have been away from home, and playing at home might also be a disadvantage for Southampton because of how the fans could turn on their own players quite quickly if things aren't going too well. So every possible factor I consider here, I just go towards a Leeds win.
But Leeds' home record, Ryan. Leeds' home record.
Yes. Why
it's going to play a role.
Why haven't we considered Leeds' home record? My outsider for the weekend, Birmingham to win away at Norwich. I was a bit surprised to see Norwich as odds-on favourites with the bookies for this game. Birmingham are a strong side, and of course Norwich are coming off the back of an absolute battering at the hands of Plymouth. Norwich were absolutely woeful in that game defensively. They were such a mess, and it was a performance which resembled their poor form from the end of last season, and they've definitely seen a dip in performances over the past 4 games. The first 4 games they were fantastic, but things have suddenly turned. Injuries haven't helped with that, but they've got other problems as well which are creeping into their game. And Birmingham have struggled a bit recently, just 2 points from their last 4 games, but I think they'll get back on track soon. They certainly have been playing badly. In fact, they've won the last 7 league games in terms of expected goals and have kind of been underperforming their expected goals in terms of their recent results. But when that happens, I tend to think it's only a matter of time before results turn. So they have been lucky and results should turn soon. Jay Stansfield in particular looks a terrifically talented player, and if Norwich have a day even similar to last weekend, Birmingham could punish them.
How often does that happen though, where a team gets absolutely battered and then they react positively the following game? We saw it with Birmingham a few years ago under Gary Rowett when they lost 8-0 to Bournemouth. I can't remember whether they drew or won their next game.
Such a random reference to bring out a game which happened 8 years ago.
I know, incredible, isn't it? It's a bit of a kick in the teeth for the Birmingham fans. But I do have this belief that if you get absolutely battered the previous game, the next game is always a huge improvement. That being said, the standard is you can't go much lower than a 6-2 away defeat, can you? So
Justin, let me take that theory and instantly respond to that with Southampton.
Okay, Southampton don't count because they did, for some reason Russell Martin is not learning from each game. He's just still trying to deploy this methodology that is clearly leaving huge mile width spaces in their midfield that teams can just run through. So, and I don't think, David Wagner has never played like that. So I think David Wagner is a little bit more prudent in the way he sets his teams up than Russell Martin is. So I don't think there's that much naivety there for Norwich to allow Birmingham to walk over them, especially at Carrow Road.
Yeah, well, I think your theory is one of those things that fans think happens, but doesn't necessarily always happen. I don't think teams get battered 2 games on the bounce unless you're Southampton. I think what tends to happen is teams play better, but don't necessarily respond with a positive result all of the time. And as I say, Birmingham have been playing a lot better than their results suggest. So I can quite feasibly see Birmingham getting something from this game. Justin, what's your outsider for the weekend?
I've gone with Middlesbrough to win away at Watford. Again, I have slim pickings this week because your messages of picking these fixtures gets earlier and earlier, almost 6 o'clock on Monday morning.
No,
when everybody's
that
asleep.
is absolute bollocks. When did I... Hang on, I'm opening WhatsApp now. I sent our message on Monday at...
About 9 o'clock.
It was 11 o'clock.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe there's...
It's not that early.
Monday's early, but I guess we do have to prepare notes. But I've gone with Middlesbrough to win away at Watford. I'm hoping Borough very much catch Watford on a bad day here, similar to Leeds doing the same to Watford last week. My rationale being that Borough have been okay, they're just lacking a clinical touch, and for Watford, for all their good defensive work, do lack a little something going forwards, which might suit Borough because, similarly to Southampton, Carrick hasn't yet set his team up to be really, really solid yet. Or he's never actually done that in his time at the Riverside. But mix that with Borough being on a high after their win against Southampton last week and then a midweek win in the League Cup as well. Maybe, just maybe, they can make it back-to-back victories in the league. That being said, Middlesbrough could go full Middlesbrough and sabotage themselves, which has been the theme of this season so far.
Yeah, Middlesbrough by and large haven't been playing badly. It's mainly been about putting away chances. One win can make a massive difference in terms of confidence, and Emmanuel Latte-Laff, one player I'll pick out in particular, has looked very low on confidence, but him scoring in the League Cup in midweek will go a long way to helping him. So maybe Middlesbrough are a side who have renewed confidence now. However, Watford are much stronger at home than they are away. Yeah. Not a particularly spectacular side by any means. So a Borough win is entirely plausible. I think this is definitely one of the more interesting games of the weekend, simply to see how Middlesbrough do. Are they still going to continue to struggle, or is this the turning point for them now? So that's one thing to definitely keep an eye out for this weekend. Let's take a quick break, Justin. After that, we'll talk about some of the news from the past few days. Welcome back to the Second Tier Podcast. And now, it's time for this. Yes, it's time for the news, and Sheffield Wednesday manager Isco Munoz is still in the job despite 2 points from 8 games. I've included this in the news, Justin, because I thought he'd definitely be gone by now. especially because the Sheffield Wednesday Twitter account hadn't tweeted for nearly 48 hours. That's usually a dead giveaway when a manager is about to get sacked. And look, I want to make it clear that we're not calling for him to get sacked, because that's just not very nice. But I am quite surprised that he's still there.
Yeah, I think it's worth pointing out as well that you tweeted or X'd that the Sheffield Wednesday Twitter account hadn't tweeted in 48 hours, and literally 3 minutes later they put out a post.
They saw it. They saw incredible. My tweet.
They did. They had to put smoke on pour smoke on the fire. That's not how you put a fire out. Pour water on the fire. Pour water
on the fire. Yeah.
Well, I don't know what the saying is, but you get my point. But I am surprised that he is still in the job. I think he's incredibly lucky. And yes, like you, I don't think people should be calling for people to be sacked, and unemployment's a terrible thing. But when you're not guiding a football club to wins and a positive style of play that is at least garnering something, then your ownership should be doing something to address that. And they're not. Chansiri isn't. He's so absent and incompetent. He just won't do it. He'll wait till the last possible second, and then probably blame Carlton Palmer and then Darren Moore.
Yeah, it's definitely one of their faults, isn't it? The theories that I've seen from Wednesday fans is that they're holding off because Chansiri is possibly looking for a replacement, which may be true, may be the case. The concern for me, though, is what you were referring to at the weekends, that Chansiri does have a bit of a track record for taking too long on these crucial managerial decisions. I mean, how long did it take for Munoz to come in? It took a long time after Moore went, didn't it? And then all of a sudden, Munoz just turned up out of nowhere and said, here's your new manager. So something similar to that may happen here. But the fact of the matter is, Wednesday are playing so badly now that something has to change. And whether that be the new manager, then so be it. It is worth saying, if Wednesday don't win either of their next two games, it'll be the worst start in the club's history, which is some going, isn't it?
It's poor. It's so poor, and I think there's no pride in it either. It doesn't feel like there's any pride in it from Chansiri's perspective. There's been a lot of noise as well about ticket pricing. It's just not a good place to be at the moment, and which is such a huge shame considering the playoff, the manner in which they won the playoffs last season should be the catalyst for positivity, should be the catalyst for change, should be the catalyst for pushing up the table, which I genuinely thought was possible under Darren Moore and under some sound, not ownership, but sound running of a football club. And it's just gone backwards so fast, so fast. It's quite staggering, really, how quickly it's dropped.
Yeah, that was just 5 months ago. And the contrasting atmosphere at a football club could not be more different in such a short amount of time. QPR have signed USA international Reggie Cannon on a free. The defender had left Portuguese side Boa Vista in the summer, allegedly because of unpaid wages, but we'll just leave that one there. He's traditionally a right back, but has been playing more as a centre back in a back three over the past couple of seasons. I assume he'll be playing where Osman Kaikai has been playing for QPR so far. With regards to how good he is, I don't really know. I think a lot of QPR fans have seen USA International and instantly thought they've played a blinder, but he hasn't been called up for them in the past year. He played nearly every game for Boa Vista last season, though. They finished 9th in the Portuguese league. The standard of that level is open to interpretation. I've always had mixed interpretations of how good that level is. So I'm not sure how good he is. A fair question to ask, though, is he was released in June. Why is it taking so long for a club to pick him up?
I think you're being far too cynical. I like the signing. I think it's a huge coup. I do. I know a lot of US-based fans, actually, as well. I've got a lot of American friends, and they're all excited by him. And so they've given me plenty of insight. He's got 28 caps for the US national team, which tells you he's got pedigree. As well as that, he's been playing top-flight football in Portugal, which Cristiano Ronaldo was doing it in 2003. So you can't really question the level, albeit they are. That is a stretch. It's so random. That's not even in my notes. That has just popped to me. So you're welcome, QPR fans. Reggie Cannon, Cristiano Ronaldo. There's your link. But he's got the athleticism you need to thrive in England, and I think that will be ideal. And certainly, player who I think if he has a good season could fetch a decent figure if sold. I think the only thing I'm going to draw a negative on is he's got a name. His surname is Cannon, but I'm not aware of any shooting ability. That would have been absolutely incredible if he had that to back it up. I want to see it, need to see it.
It's quite disappointing that they let Dominic Ball leave to go to Ipswich last year,
God.
because Cannon and Ball in the same team would have been...
That could have been a duo.
Would have just been superb, wouldn't it? Maybe I am being cynical about this signing. If he is going to be playing regularly at centre-half, then he's probably a better option in a back three than Osman Kaikai, considering he was doing it for a mid-table Portuguese top-flight side last season. So, yeah, he's certainly an upgrade in that regard, I imagine. Leicester boss Enzo Maresca has confirmed Callum Doyle is going to be out for a long time after suffering a knee injury in the win over Bristol City at the weekend. We haven't had any specifics on how long he's going to be out yet, or indeed what the actual injury is, but it's a big blow for Leicester, Justin. Doyle has been ever present for them so far, hasn't he? And this could be a problem as well, because Enzo Maresca has admitted they're very thin on the ground when it comes to players who can play at left back.
I was looking into this and I was thinking, surely not. Surely they've got players who can play left back. And I mean, they've got James Justin, who's comfortable on the right or the left, and obviously Mark Albrighton, who can pretty much play anywhere, can surely fill the void. But I think it's more of a tactical thing. Obviously, Callum Doyle's role in that back four is to make it a back three when the wing back pushes up and makes it quite narrow. And obviously his ball playing ability is fantastic. So I think it's more of a tactical aspect that Maresca's got to change, as opposed to personnel. Obviously personnel anyway, but yeah, it is a blow. But teams suffer injuries, and Leicester do have at least plenty of quality in their side to cover the blow. But yeah, disappointing news, because I picked him out to be my young player of the season, didn't I, as well? So that's more the frustrating for me. He's going to miss a chunk of time to lower his possibilities of winning that.
Well, James Justin is a brilliant fullback and will play there for the foreseeable, I imagine. But it's worth saying he's coming back from an injury which kept him out for more than half a year, and if he's all unavailable, then there's no one else who's got regular experience of playing at left back. Maybe Ricardo Pereira, Wout Faes at right back, something like that. Whatever the case, it's not ideal at all, is it? And I think Maresca in particular was quite keen to have a left footer playing at left back, and there isn't really anyone else who could do that, because James Justin is traditionally a right back who's filled in at left back on many occasions. So, dare I say, if Leicester's recruitment had been better over the summer, then they could have used that money that they spent on the likes of Connor Cody to get in an actual left back. That's just a theory I've got, Justin.
Yeah, again, it's just such a cynical day for you today. You woke up on the cynical side of the bed, some might say. I just made that one up. You are right. They maybe could have recruited better in the summer, but at the end of the day, they signed Callum Doyle. They've got James Justin. I think, did they expect Luke Thomas to leave? Maybe not. Just stop being cynical. I think that's what I'll say.
I'm not sure if I am being cynical or just pointing out plain weaknesses in this team. Justin, as a matter of admin, you, of course, did say that you had Callum Doyle as your young player of the season. Now, of course, I swapped my top goal scorer, Nathan Teller, that was, with Joel Pirro after Teller left to go to Bayer Leverkusen. So with that being said, you can swap your young player of the season if you wish. I'm putting you on the spot here. Have you got anyone in mind?
No, I'm going to stick to my original choices because I believe in integrity.
Is it got anything to do with integrity, or is it just a case of, look, it's a bit of fun and your player's going to be out now for a long time, so you can swap him if you want? Listen,
if the abuse we get on Twitter is for a bit of fun, Ryan, it's not. This is real life. This is serious stuff.
I don't love it. I don't pay any attention to it whatsoever. And finally, Blackburn winger Ryan Hedges is set to miss at least 3 months of the season with a hamstring injury. He only lasted 10 minutes in the game against Ipswich, and he's had a really good start for them, hasn't he? So this is also quite a big blow.
Yeah, he's a big loss. He's a big loss. He's got so much drive and dynamism in that Rovers team, and I think him being out, does leave a huge gap. Because I think the frustrating thing is he's really grown over the last sort of 12 to 18 months. Mainly, I wasn't particularly whelmed by the signing when he first came in, but He has been fantastic, and as I say, he's got that flexibility and versatility for Rovers, and he's got that pace to get in behind as well. And obviously scored that one of the goals of the season against Watford. So yeah, he's clearly got quality, and for him to be out for 3 months is it's disappointing.
Yeah, he's been their main creator so far as well, making 17 chances. The next highest is Sammy Schmodix with 11. So losing that creativity could be a bit of a problem, because Blackburn so far have not really had too many issues with creating chances. They've actually been quite good at that this season. So could that productivity in terms of going forwards be scaled back with Hedges' injury? I'm not too sure, but yeah, it is a blow. And 3 months, not the longest amount of time, but there's a lot of games to be played in that time. So yeah, it is a big, big blow for Blackburn. Now it's time for this.
Scott High or Ryan Lowe?
Neil Best is fucking shit, mate.
Yes, it's time for Scott High or Ryan Lowe. This is the game where we have to rank 4 things from highest to lowest. It's as simple as that. There's 3 questions. This week, Justin is providing the questions to me. So what have you got for me, Justin, you bastard?
I've got 3 really good choices here.
Cool.
Don't know why I'm approaching it like that. The first one is I want you to rank the managers who have been at the club the longest.
Ooh.
The first one is Matt Taylor, Carlos Corberán, Michael Carrick, and Liam Rosenior.
Wow. Okay, so this is a massive memory test, isn't it? Sorry, I'm going to have to do this again, where I'm having to write it down. Rosenior, Carrick, and Taylor. So, I think Taylor. I think Paul Warne left quite early last season, so I'm going to put Matt Taylor top, I think. Yeah, he's definitely ahead of Carrick. Rosenior. Ooh, that was around the same time, wasn't it? No, it wasn't. Now, I remember that appointment happening when I was in Switzerland, but I can't remember when I was in Switzerland. But anyway, I'll put Taylor top, then Corberán, because I don't think Steve Bruce lasted that long. Then I'll go with Rosenior and Carrick.
So you're going Taylor, Corberán, Rosenior, Carrick.
Yeah.
You got Taylor right. The rest were a disaster. So Taylor was top with 11 months and 23 days. Then Michael Carrick with 11 months and 3 days.
Oh.
Then Carlos Corberán with 11 months and 3 days. So they were appointed on the same day, but Middlesbrough announced the appointment before Carlos Corberán.
You sneaky little bugger.
Oh yes, naughty. Then Liam Rosenior, who was appointed in November. Arveladze was sacked, but Andy Dawson was in charge for a while.
Oh, of course he was. I forgot about that. Oh, I was thinking Arveladze didn't last that long. Okay, fair enough. Next one, please.
The next one is I want you to rank who Leroy Lita has made the most appearances for.
Jesus Christ.
And these are all loan teams, so good luck. Sheffield Wednesday, Norwich, Birmingham and Barnsley.
Do you know what the thing is about this? I can't recall him playing for any of those teams. So this is going to be fun. What were they again, sorry?
Sheffield Wednesday, Norwich, Barnsley and Birmingham City.
Right, okay. I will go Norwich top, then Wednesday, then Barnsley, then Birmingham.
You've got Birmingham right, the rest are wrong.
Okay. I didn't
Barnsley.
have a clue with that one, I'm afraid.
It's fair. I thought you would, because obviously you've interviewed him and he's a source of many...
Yeah, but it's loans, Justin. If it was permanent, then fine, but loans, I'm just, picking numbers out the air.
Yeah, but permanent clubs he's not played for enough. He's just all loans.
You didn't have to pick Leroy Lita.
Because
or did
I like
you?
Leroy
Did Leroy Lita come round your house and say, "Rate me the next question"?
He actually did. He sent me a lovely. He gave me a muffin basket. That's what it was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be a lot less threatening than that. A lot more threatening, rather. Final one then, Justin. Let's wrap this terrible episode up.
I want you to rank what is the UK's favourite sandwich.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, so I love sandwiches. It's a dream of mine to own a deli. So hopefully this podcast can pay for that at some point. I'd love to own a deli. I'd love to own a deli and a cafe. Isn't that brilliant? Not in the UK. Somewhere nice and warm. Anyway, the choices you've got are egg and cress, the BLT, a sausage sandwich, and a ploughman's.
What's this being based on?
A Metro survey survey in the Metro, the People's newspaper.
The People's newspaper. Right. So I am a meal deal connoisseur. Love a good meal deal. I do. You will have to read them out to me again because I've completely forgotten them. BLT, sausage was one, wasn't it?
Yeah, just a sausage sandwich, egg and cress, and a ploughman's. I presume egg and cress is egg mayonnaise.
Right. I'll go sausage top. But why? Yeah, we'll go sausage top. Then egg. Then BLT. Then a ploughman's.
Yeah, that's really quite wrong. Ploughman's is top. Then egg
Really?
and cress. Yeah, ploughman's is top. Do you know what a ploughman's is?
No.
It's ham, cheese, pickle, mustard, and butter. So there's a lot going on. So I'm not
I
really
did know
surprised.
that. I did know
Which is what makes it all the more confusing that egg and cress is next, because it's just egg and cress. There's nothing to it. Then a BLT, which again surprised me. Then a sausage sandwich. I love a sausage sandwich.
Do you? You're vegan?
Not a meat sausage, a veggie sausage. I love it.
Egg and cress sandwich. What's that about?
It's just boring. Cress is the most pointless accompaniment to anything ever.
Just clovers, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so. Is
Just
that what they are?
grass cuttings.
Not
Grass
barley.
cuttings and egg.
Yeah, sounds like my kind of sandwich.
Oh, God. Yeah, that's just so plain. I can't believe that's so high. I mean, ploughman's I can understand. I did recall what it was after you said what the ingredients were, but I thought sausage would be top. Everyone loves a good sausage sandwich, don't they? Sausage
They do.
sarnie.
Are we surprised with the UK's palate? No, it's really boring and bland, so it
Definitely
can't
not
really
with
come as a
egg
surprise
and
to
cress
anybody.
sandwich being so high. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. This has been the Second Tier Podcast. We'll be back again on Sunday to go through all the games coming up this bloody weekend. So we look forward to seeing you then. This has been the Second Tier Podcast. I've been Ryan Dilks.
I've been Justin Peach.
And a big thank you for listening.